English online class. In today's class, let us read the 10th lesson, that is The Pie and the Tart by Hugh Chesterton. Pie and Tart, it is a play, it is a drama and it is a comedy, and also at the same time it tells the serious problem, that is the hunger, and what hunger makes a person to do, that is also described here. And we are reading this play as a funny play. Here the two vagabonds, they were very hungry and they are begging for food, and one day they find a food in a pastry cook's shop, and there they try to get that try to get that food, and in order to get that food they are manipulating, or they are fooling the pastry cook and his wife. And at the same time, once the pastry cook and his wife were fooled, and from the same person again they are fooled. Here you can see the brilliance and the common sense that was used by the vagabonds to fool the people or fool the pastry cook or the owner of the cake shop. Hugh Chesterton, he wrote many children's books in the 1920s and 30s and edited a children's magazine called The Merry-Go-Round, published in Oxford with his great friend Basil Blackwell. So here, dear students, Pie and Tart is the lesson, it's a play for us, and while reading you can understand the play. Here you can read the play, you can act the play, and you can understand the play very well. So for the brief understanding, I will read the play and tell you the important things or the brief synopsis of the play. So here, the play reading activity is given. Do you enjoy listening to humorous anecdotes and situations? Recall any humorous situation or any humorous anecdote in Paris. In pairs, share it with your partner. In the class you can share, but now you are at home, you can remember such comic scenes or anecdotes or humorous anecdotes, and you can share with your friends or you can share with your family members, and you can enjoy. And here you can read this play with to your parents, and you can also, if there are siblings or if there are friends in the same colony or in the same place, you can come together and you can act this play in front of your family to entertain them. So there are four characters we can see in this play. The first one is Pyre, he is a vagabond, and John is also vagabond. Okay, here the spelling is Jean. It's not Jean, but it is called as John. And Pyre and John, they are the vagabonds. Vagabonds in the sense they are the beggars. They go from one place to another place for the sake of food, to ask the food or to beg the food. Then Gaultier. Gaultier is the name of a pastry cook, the bakery shop owner. Marion is his wife. Here Marion is a lady, and she is Gaultier's wife. Where did the scene take place? The scene is laid outside Gaultier's cake shop in Paris. The time is the middle of the 15th century. The act could be played on a curtained stage with one door, back center. The only furniture is a bench. Right? John and Pyre are discovered, the former seated on the bench in an attitude of extreme dejection, the latter pacing up and down, blowing on his fingers. Both must indicate that they are cold and hungry. So what is the scene here? In the scene there is a cake shop, and the scene is set outside the cake shop. The time is the middle of the 15th century, and the furniture was a bench at right, and there John and Pyre are discovered. The former, in the sense John was seated on the bench and he was sitting on the bench with an attitude of extreme dejection. He was very sad, he was unhappy, and he was in a bad mood and bad condition. The latter, in the sense fire, he was pacing up and down, blowing on his fingers. So pacing up and down in the sense he was doing the movement to protect himself from the cold. Okay, so their behavior or their attitude could suggest that they both were hungry, and at the same time they both were suffering from cold. Now John starts to speak. John, regarding pious restless pacing, must you keep doing that? Pyre, it's this blasted cold. If I stop walking, I shall freeze. I am dying of hunger and cold. John, so am I, but I prefer to die sitting down. Pyre, we make a pretty pair, you and I. Paris should be proud of us, displaying his rags. There are 23 holes in my tunic. I know because I counted them this morning. That's only reckoning the ones that let the wind through. No doubt there are others, but let that pass. John, the holes in your tunic don't interest me. What I am concerned about is the hollow in my stomach. We must live, and without a meal. Dear students, here Pyre and John, they are conversing with each other. Both of them were suffering from hunger and cold, and here they are going here and Pyre is moving here and there, blowing his fingers, and the attitude shows that he is both hungry and cold. And John comments on his pacing or on his movement and was saying that can't you sit quiet? Whether it is required now, he asked. For that he said he did not want to die. If he stopped walking, then he will definitely die. So to protect himself or to keep himself alive, he said that he was moving here and there. And John said that he did not like to die by moving here and there. He preferred to die by sitting itself. And then they are commenting about themselves. They had wore the torn or a old rags or the cloth. The cloth is filled with the holes. And he is saying that this tunic the tunic had how many? 23 holes in it, and he know about those 23 holes because he counted. Why he counted? Because he did not have any other work. That's why he was sitting and counting how many holes in his rag or in his tunic. So here John gets irritated with the Pyre's talk, and he is saying that I am not interested in your tunic's hole, but I am interested in I am worried about my a hollow in my stomach, the hole in my stomach. In the sense the stomach is empty. He wanted to live, so he wanted to earn some food at any cost. For that Pyre says, that's what I said to Judge Gaston when I was pinched last month for begging. John said what? Pyre. He asked me why I did it, and I said, well, Your Honor, I must live. And he looked me up and down and said, I really don't see that necessity. John, oh, bag that judge. Pyre. He didn't know what it was to be hungry. See here, my pretty, this can't go on. I'm going to knock on every door in this street. And since charity begins at home, I shall begin right here, indicating the cake shop. You would be better not be seen. Go into the next street and try your luck there. John begins to go, but Pyre calls him back. Hey, wait a minute. Brother, let's hear what you can do. John knocks on the bench and assumes a mannequin voice and attitude. John, For the love of Saint Agatha and all the blessed saints, have pity on a poor miserable who has had no food for the 3 days. How's that? Pile. Not bad, but make it 7 days and split slightly. It's a sure sign of starvation. Exit John. Next, Fire, knocking on the cake shop door. Alms, good sir, for the love of God and all his blessed angels, take pity on the poor traveller who has had no food for a week. Mr. Gaultier comes to the door. He is a man of about 50, well preserved and obviously content with his lot. Gaultier, go away. I have got nothing for you. My wife is away and I am busy. You would better go to the next street. Mr. Gaultier slams the door. Exit Fire right, enter John left. He looks at the door, hesitates and then knocks. John, for the love of Saint Agatha, Saint Nicholas, Saint Crispin and all the blessed company of heaven, have pity upon a poor miserable who has had no food for 7 days. Students, here what happens? John and Fire, they both were begging in the streets of Paris, and once they were pinched in the sense what? They were arrested by the police and they were presented to the court, and in the court they were inquired by the judge, and the judge asked them why they were begging in the streets. So the vagabonds, they replied, and here the Fire, he replied to the judge that they have to live, that's why they were begging. And the judge Gaston, what did he opine? He opined that it's waste to leave such kind of people in the society or in the streets, he said. And here, by commenting on his judgment, they call him as a wag. And then Fire says that he is so hungry and he could not control anymore. So he decided to do something, or he decided that he must get food, and he had to do something to get his food. So what to do? He decided to beg, and as the charity begins at home, he decided to start his begging from the cake shop itself, where they were sitting in front of. Then he tells John to go to the next street and not to be seen in that street, because the next day he had to come there. That's why he suggested him. And John was ready to go. While going, Fire calls him back and he takes one demo how he is going to beg with the people or in the houses. So John, he tells how he is going to beg. He tells that by referring in the name of God and goddesses, he is going to beg. For the love of Saint Agatha and all the blessed saints, have pity on a poor miserable. Please pity on a poor miserable who has had no food for 3 days. How is that? He is asking. If I say like this, how is it? Will they give the food? Fire said, it's not bad, but you said 3 days, make it 7 days. And you little swing. In the sense, you make or you shrink your eyes a little more. Make a slight squint. Why? Because it can show a sure sign of starvation, of hunger. Fine, John agreed and he left. Knocking on the door, cake shop door, Fire asked, alms, good sir, for the love of God and all his blessed angels, take pity on a poor traveller who has had no food for a week. So Fire started to beg, and he knocked at the cake shop door and he said, alms, good sir, good morning sir, can you give me some food because I did not have food from so many days. For the sake of God, for the love of God, please have pity on us. With a squint look and with a soft voice, in a hungry or in a begging voice, he asked the pastry cook. And who opened the door when Pyre knocked at the door? Mr. Gaultier came out. He comes to the door. He is a man of about 50, well preserved and obviously content with his lot. He is very conscious about his lot or his prestige or about his possessions. Gaultier said, "Go away. I have got nothing for you. I don't have anything for you because my wife is away. Everything I should prepare. What shall I give to you? Go away. Go and beg in the next street." Mr. Gaultier slams the door. Suddenly he slams the door. The sound comes and exit Pyre, right? And at the same time, John enters to the same place. He looks at the door, hesitates and then knocks. Then he comes and knocks at the same door. And he is saying, "For the love of Saint Agatha, Saint Nicholas, Saint Christian," he is referring the name of all the saints just to convince or just to manipulate or just to fool or just to make them sentimental. Okay. Crispin and all the blessed company of heaven, have pity upon a poor miserable who has had no food for 7 days. Now the door is opened by Marian. The same house door first opened by the husband and next it is opened by whom? The wife. She is younger than her husband, stoutish but comely. The wife of Gaultier, who is the wife of Gaultier? Marian. And she was younger than her husband, than Gaultier, and little stoutish but very shyful. "Marian, go away, beggar. My husband is out and I have nothing for you. You would better call again when he comes back." Marian shuts the door. John sits disconsolately on the bench. Presently, Gaultier comes out of the shop. He makes as if to go out. Right, but remembers something and goes back towards the shop. Marian appears at the door. "Mr. Gaultier." "Oh, Marian, I am just off to dine with the mayor. He keeps none too good a table. I am thinking that I would better take that eel pie with me, the big one that I made last Monday. Just get it for me. Hurry, I must not be late." Marian: "Very good, husband." She goes back into the shop, but Gaultier calls her back. Gaultier: "Hey, wait! I can't very well be seen carrying an eel pie through the streets of Paris, can I?" "Not quite the thing for a man of my position. Do you think you could bring it along after me?" Marian: "Quite impossible. I have too much to do to run errands. Why not send someone back for it?" Gaultier: "A good idea, but who?" Marian: "Well, you will be bound to meet someone on the way." Gaultier: "Oh, yes, but how will you know if he is the right one? Anyone might just come and say they had been sent." Marian: "I hadn't thought of that." Gaultier: "I have it. I'll tell the messenger when I have found him to kiss your hand. That will be the sign and you will know that everything is right." Marian laughing: Well, choose a good-looking one," coldly she said. "Madame Gaultier's hand is not for everyone to kiss." Marian returns to the shop. Gaultier exits. Right, John, who was overheard all the foregoing, sits pondering. Presently entered Pyre left. So here what happens? When John knocks at the door, Marian opens the door. And what did Marian said? Marian also said the same thing what her husband said. She said that, "Now you don't come, my husband is out. I cannot give you anything. You better go to the next street or to the next door. You better come up once again after some days or after some time when my husband comes back." By saying that, even she shuts the door. So here John, without doing anything, with disappointment, he sits near the cake shop itself. At the same time, Gaultier comes out of the house. Marian said he is not at home, and Gaultier also said his wife is not at home. But both They were at home itself, and Gaultier comes out and he suddenly remembers something, and he tells with his wife that he had to go to the mayor's house, his friend's house. So in the mayor's house he treats him little down, and he tells that he doesn't keep, he is a very stingy man. He doesn't keep something anything good on the table. So I feel I should carry the pie what I prepared the last Monday. By tasting that, he may think what kind of let him think what kind of a great pastry cook I am. So he decides to take the pie. So what do you mean by pie? Pie is a food or a dish that was prepared by meat or a fruit baked in a dish with a pastry on the bottom, like pizza or like cake itself it is. So he prepares, he feels or he opines with his wife that he would like to take that pie to the mayor's house. Then Marian agrees, fine, it's your wish, very good. Then she goes to the shop, but Gaultier calls her back. She goes inside the shop to bring that pie, but Gaultier calls her back. Why? Because Gaultier, he doesn't like to carry that eel pie in the bag while going in the street, because he had some prestige in the locality. So he felt that it doesn't look good, or it doesn't prestigious for him to carry the eel pie. So he asked his wife to bring, but his wife is also more than him. She said that no, I can't bring because I have many things to do. I have much to do to run errands. Errands in the sense to do the work. Of course, why not send someone back for it? She suggests you can send some servant for that, right? Why can't you send? Oh yes, no. Gaultier also agreed. But there was a question. What's that? How Marian will come to know that the person was sent by Gaultier itself? So he decides one code, that is, if when he finds her, he would kiss her hand. So that will be the sign, or that will be the code between the messenger and the Gaultier, and also it will convey to Homer to Marian also. So when she said or told Marian to send the messenger, he also agrees. And the next, what happened? Let's see in the next session. Okay, in the last session we had seen Gaultier decided to appoint one messenger to carry the eel pie, and they had decided that when Gaultier's messenger will found his wife, he would kiss her hand. And this all conversation of Gaultier and his wife Marian, it was heard by whom? It was heard by John. He was sitting in the cake shop, or outside the cake shop on the bench. He overheard all the conversation. Now the brilliant and a super duper idea hit in his mind, and presently entered Pyre from left. Pyre asked, "Any luck, John?" John, "Yes and no." Pyre, "What does that mean?" John, after a pause, "Hey, look here. Are you ready to do exactly as I tell you? And no question asked?" Pyre, "I'll do anything to keep my stomach quiet." Pyre, John, "Very well. Now listen. I am going to the next street. Directly I am gone. Go up to the door, knock on it and say." Pyre, "Hey, thanks. I have been there today already. I got what I expected," mimicking Mr. Gaultier's pompous manner. "Go away, Michael. Go away. I am busy. Go into the next street." But he speaks, so he mimics Gaultier. John, "Never mind about that. Listen. I say directly I am gone. Go up to the door and knock on it. The lady will come to the door." Pyre, "But how do you know?" John, "Don't interrupt. The lady will come to the door. When she does so, you will take her hand and kiss it." Pyre gets angry. kiss the lady's hand. I think you are making a slight mistake, brother. I am not lovesick, I am starving. John, hey, wait, that's not all. When you have kissed her hand, you will say, Madam, I am sent by Mr. Gaultier to fetch the pie. She will then give you a large eel pie and the heavens will open, roast flow and nectarians will be seen to rain upon us from the clouds, and champagne will be heard gurgling in the gutters. Where did you learn all these conjuring tricks? John, very well. Believe it or not as you like. The point is, are you hungry or not? Tell me. Fire, rubbing his waistline. Hungry? I have hollow in there that all the birds of the air could nest in. John, then do as I tell you. If it does not come off, never trust me again, but it will. Fire, criminal, John. I believe you are serious. John, of course I am serious. Fire, alright, I'll do it. John, good, very good. Then tell me again, what do I have to do? John says, once again he explains. It's all quite simple, dear. Go up and knock at the door and say, Please, madam, Mr. Gaultier has sent to me for the eel pie. She won't give it to you till you have kissed her hand. That's important. Fire. But suppose the husband comes to the door? John, he won't. He's out. I happen to know it. Never mind how, but I do. Now I'm going round the corner. I shall be back in 5 minutes. And don't you start dinner till I come. Exit John, right. Fire knocks on the door. Marian answers it. Fire. Good morning, lady. I have come from Mr. Pye, who sends me to fetch the Gaultier. I should say, I have come from Mr. Gaultier, who sends me to fetch the pie, the eel pie. Marian. And how am I to know you are his messenger? Fire. Oh, allow me, lady, to kiss your hand. He attempts to seize her hand, but Marian snatches it away. Marian. All right, that will do. Wait there, and I will get it. Exit and reappears with pie. Here it is. Take care how you carry it. It's a very good pie. Pie was very happy. Rest assured, lady, I shall take the greatest care of it. As a carrier of eel pies, I claim to be second to none in all Paris. It shall travel thus, close to my bosom, as a mother with her batlings, as a shepherd with his ewes, as Saint Ursula with her maidens. So will I play the guardian angel with this pie. It shall. Dear students, here when Fire comes and inquires with John whether he got any food or not, John was got with an idea, and he was very eager to explain to that idea with the Fire, and he wanted to have that pie. And he tells Fire to do as he did or as he said, and he asked John asked Fire to go to the same door and knock on it. But Fire gets angry and he gets irritated and tells that once I went, no, I am not going. Now John tells him briefly, and he says that you go. Not only you have to go, you have to do some work. Just go and tell the lady that you are the messenger sent by Mr. Gaultier, and that is not only enough, but you have to kiss her hand. So Fire gets irritated and he gets angry and he scolds or yells at him. Are you gone mad? I am hungry, I am not lovesick. I don't want any lady or to kiss anyone's hand, he said. But John tries to convince him and tells him that do as you want. If you are hungry, then do as I said, he tells. And when he explains that if you do that, the lady will give you the pie. And here John Fire mocks at whom? John for saying all these ideas. He tells that, yeah, and heavens will open, everything will come to you and you can make merry. But now John gets angry and said that, if you believe or not, do as I said. Otherwise, don't ask me. If you want the food, if you want to keep your stomach quiet, then do as I said, he says. Then finally, Fire agrees to do. And again he explains what he had to do. Fire goes to the shop and John already said him that Gaultier, he would never come because he was out, and he had seen that he was going out, so he was sure that he was out. And here John tells Fire to go and execute his plan. And Fire goes, and in conclusion he tells what he has to do in a reverse manner. He says that I have come from Mr. Pie, who sends me to fetch the Gaultier. Instead of saying that he was sent by Gaultier to fetch the pie, he tells that he was sent by the pie and to fetch Gaultier. Then he corrects it and he tells with the Marian. And Marian did not believe. She wanted something to do, something the code, or to clarify or to make sure whether he was the messenger sent by her husband. So Fire, he demanded or he asked her hand to kiss. So Marian came to know that this is the true man that was sent by, or the messenger sent by whom Gaultier. So she goes to the cake shop and brings the pie and she handovers it to whom? To Fire. And Fire was very happy. He could not control his happiness. After looking at the pie, he was in the air itself. And Marian, she ordered him to take that pie with a very care and cautiously. So here he promises her how, rest assured lady, I shall take the greatest care of it. No one will take care of this pie in this Paris like him. And he compares himself to whom? It shall travel thus, close to my bosom, as a mother with her bantlings. How the mother take care of her children, that way I will take care. As the shepherd with his ewes, how the shepherd takes care of his ewes, like that I will. Saint Ursula with her maidens, so will pay the guardian angel with this pie. It shall, Marian interrupts, be off then, and don't waste time in getting here. She closes the door. After she had gone, Fire stands holding the pie as if stupefied. He then places it carefully on the bench and sits beside it. He gazes at it lovingly, prodding it now and then with his fingers. Fire, this must be a dream, and presently I shall wake. One of those dreams that are too good to last. I know, because I have had them once or twice before. Picking up the pie tenderly and sniffing it. Good dream, last it little longer. Just now I haven't the very least desire to wake up. Enter John. John, well, what did I tell you? Fire, putting his fingers to his lips. Shh, don't speak too loud. You might wake me up. John laughing and clapping him on the back. Wake up then. It's dinner time. Picking up the pie. We won't wait for the nectarians and the champagne. This will do start with. He goes out, carrying the pie in front of him. John follows, as if in a trance, nose in the air, sniffing. After a pause, enter Gaultier. He is obviously angry and rather out of breath. He knocks on the door. Marian opens it. So here what happens? Fire, he got the eel pie. He promised Marian that he will take care of it like anything, and he will surely take it to the mayor's house. And Marian sends him. And here, after looking at the eel pie, Fire was completely stupefied. He could not believe his eyes. He could not believe that he is smelling, or he could see that eel pie. He was very happy, and he then places it carefully on the bench. On the bench he keeps and sits beside it, gazing it lovingly, prodding it now and then with his finger. Keeping that pie, he is looking at that only, and again he was touching and looking its with his finger. Okay, so he was very happy, very eager to have that pie. And Pyre, he feels that it must that what he was dreaming, or that what he is now it's going on, he wishes that it could continue for a long time, because that the smell of that pie, the smoothness of that pie, he just could not imagine. He was very happy, because I have had them once or twice before. Earlier he had tasted, and he knew that, he remembered that taste and its yumminess. Good dreams lasted little longer. Just now I haven't the very least desire to wake up. John, well, what did you tell? John came and said, now you what? What did you tell when I said? Pyre, putting his finger on his lips, he said, shh, don't make noise. You may wake me up. Don't make noise. Speak quietly. John, laughing and clapping on his back. He laughs and he claps on his back and says, hey, wake up. Then it's the time to dine. It's the dinner time. Having that pie in the hand, are you sitting or are you eating that? Come, let's have. We won't wait for the nectarians. Then the nectarians will not come or not shower on us, or the champagne will not come to us. Come, it's a dream, and now the dream is true. Let us eat, he says, and he goes. And both of them, they go to eat that. And at the same time, who enters to the cake shop? The Gaultier is back to the cake shop. So, after coming to the cake shop, Gaultier, what he did, why he came back, let us see in the next class.